So very beautiful moment, dear students. Hope you are keeping safe at home. So let's continue from where we left yesterday. So remember yesterday I was talking about the concept of the mutually exclusive event, and we were talking about the two of them, the mutually exclusive event and the independent event. And I believe that that is the category that we say the two of them are known as the combined event. So we mentioned about the two laws of the probability, whereby we have the addition law of probability. And apart from the addition law of the probability, again we talked about the multiplication law of the probability. So you as a student, you must be in a position to be able to identify when are you going to add and when are you going to multiply. But for the case of the addition number, we said that one takes place for the case of the mutually exclusive event in a scenario whereby the occurrence of a given event excludes the probability of another event from taking place. Whereas for the case of the independent event is that the occurrence of one event does not have relationship with the occurrence of the second event. So today I want us to shift now to mention more concept on the issue of the tree diagram. So as we study the tree diagram, because we agree that for you to come up with this concept of the theoretical probability, you must be in a position to come up with the list of the all possible number of outcomes. And when you're doing so, the tree diagram will be assisting you so much in order for you to be able to come with that concept of the tree diagram. So if I'll ask my director there to give me the pointer, and the pointer, Mr. Lista, the pointer so that you can be able to move to the next slide. So what I was insisting is that issue of the tree diagram. So you're going to be using, or you're going to be drawing the tree diagram so that we'll be in a position to come up with the list of the all possible number of the outcome. Because we say in the theoretical probability, you don't rely with the past experience, you don't perform the experiment, but what you do is coming up with a list of the all possible number of the outcomes. So just you can see there from that slide, we are talking about the tree diagram. And we're saying that the tree diagram allows us to see all the possible number of the outcomes of an event and then calculate their probability. That's the position we say, that each branch in a tree diagram represents a possible outcome. Therefore, a tree diagram which represents a coin being tossed 3 times look like this one. So that's what we are saying. You are tossing the coin 3 times, meaning the first toss does not have the relationship with the second toss, and also does not have the relationship with the third toss. Meaning that the tossing of the coin 3 times, that one is going to be an independent event. Remember, we agreed there's a scenario where the two of them are being combined together. That is the mutually exclusive event and the independent event. Like in this case, you're going to see the combination of the two. For instance, we are saying, throwing the coin 3 times, the result of the first outcome does not have or does not determine the outcome of the third toss, neither does it determine the outcome of the second toss. And this is the way the tree diagram looks like. So check there on my slide, you can be able to see. So that's the way the tree diagram is going to look like. So you have this one where we are talking about the first toss. You can get a head or a tail. But then again, this first toss is not having any relationship with the second toss. As you can see, the second toss, you can have the 4 outcomes there. Then finally, the third toss. You can be able to see we are having now the 8th number of the outcomes. So let's see now the question that are going to bring in the concept of mutually exclusive event. And you can see again what you're talking about. So you're saying from the tree diagram, we can see that there are 8 possible number of outcomes. As we have seen, there are 8 possible outcomes that you can get when you toss your coin 3 times. Therefore, to find the probability of a particular outcome, we need to look for the available paths. So if you want to be able to identify the particular given outcome, then you need to look for a particular available path, that is a set of the branches. Then, sum of the probability of any set of the branch is always 1. The sum of the probability in any set. This is what we are saying. Check on it. So if you try to sum any branch that you're going to add, then your answer should always give you to 1 in terms of that multiplication. So in that case, you're saying that that the sum of the probability of any set of the branches is always going to be equal to 1. This is what we mean by the sum of the branches. And if you say a half plus a half, that one is going to give you 1. So in any case that you sum all those possible number of the outcome in each and every branch, then your answer is supposed to be equal to 1. Let's check on what we are talking about there. Then we are saying that the sum of the probability, that also note that in a tree diagram, to find the probability of an outcome, we multiply along the branches and then add vertically. So if you want to find the probability along this branch, that's what you're going to do. You're going to multiply. This is going to be a half, multiplied by a half, multiplied by a half. Then if there is going to be the case of having the relationship, maybe this branch, then with this one, then the two of them you cannot be able to multiply. But when you're considering the answer for here and then for here, then that one is going to be a mutually exclusive event, and that is the time that you're going to be performing an addition sign. So that's what we are saying. For instance, we are saying the probability of getting 3 hits. So what is the probability? In our case, what is going to be the probability that when you toss a coin, that you get, what is the probability of getting 3 hits? So you get a head in the first toss, you get a head in the second toss, and then you get a head in the third toss. That's what the examiner is asking us. So find the probability of the 3 heads. And then you can be able to see what you're talking about. In that case, that is going to be only one outcome. In our case, this is the direction that you're going to travel. In the first case, you get a head. Then in the second case, you get a head. Then in the third case, you get a head. So meaning, in that case, the probability of getting head in the first toss is going to be a half. Then because you're following the same branch, you're going to multiply by a half again. And then again, you're going to multiply by a half. So at the end of the day, the probability of getting a head in 3 tosses is going to be 1 over 8. That is the concept that I'm trying to talk about. Then, if we go to question number 2, what is they asking us? So that we see the concept of the mutually exclusive event. And in this case, we are telling you, what is the probability of getting 2 heads and a tail? What is the probability of get 2 heads and what? And a tail. What is going to be that probability? So in this case, you realize there is different types of the combination. There is the different types of the combination, and that's what we will be focusing on it. So what is the probability of getting 2 heads and a tail? So you see, in this case you can say this one can be given by what? The probability. In the first toss you get a head, in the second toss you get a head, then in the third toss you get a tail. That is one possible combination. So if this one happens, if this one does not happen, then we have another option. That option is going to be off. The probability in the first toss you get a head, then in the second toss you get a tail, then in the third toss you get a head. That's another possible combination. Or again, the third one, that in the probability in the first case you get a tail, then in the other you get a head, and then you get a head. So this is what we are saying. If this one occurs, it will exclude this one from occurring. Then if this one occurs, then it will also exclude this one occurring. So meaning this one can only happen one at a time. And that's why we are talking now about the mutually exclusive event. The occurrence of one of the combination exclude the occurrence of the other. So when this one happens, it will exclude the two of them from happening. Then again, when this one occurs, it excludes this one from happening. When this one occurs, it excludes this one from also happening. So that is the concept that I'm trying to talk about. So meaning, when we are talking, when we are finding the probability here, this toss, the first toss is independent of the second toss and the third toss. So when you're finding the probability here, we are going to multiply. When you're finding the probability here, we are going also to multiply. And in the same case here, we are going to multiply. But when you're finding out the probability for this one, we are going out to sum all those 3 possible number of the combination. Therefore, it is possible for you to be given a question that requires you to use generally the knowledge of the independent event and the knowledge of the mutually exclusive event in the same question. So here in our question, we are going to find that the probability of getting here is going to be a half multiplied by a half, then multiply by a half as one case. Then you add the next possible combination, that's going to be a half, multiplied by a half, then again multiply by a half. And then the third one is going again to be the probability of getting 1, a half, multiplied by a half, then multiplied by a half. So at the end of the day, you're going to have your case assault. It's going to be 1 over 8, then plus 1 over 8, then plus 1 over 8, which at the end of the day is going to give us 3 over 24. So if you try to add 3 over 8, it's 24, 3 over 8. So this one you can be able to give it as your answer for the probability of getting 2 heads and a tail, as you're going to see in the concept of the working level. That's what you are existing in this case. Then we are saying there that the probability of getting, that one is going to be 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 8, you get 3 over 8. So some case is going to come when you're trying to find the probability of obtaining. So that one will be speaking on my next part of the video, whereby we are going to see the terms that are going to be used during the exam in order for you to see whether you have gotten the concept. Those few remarks during my first part of the video, I am done and I am out.